So what are the 3 different Reiki levels and how do they work? Okay, I'm going to take you through it. Now, when Reiki was originally taught in Japan, it wasn't structured and formalized in the way that it is now. But as it's made its progress from east to west, as it's developed, it's kind of solidified into a really cool structure that actually works really, really well. So Reiki 1 is basically turning on the light switch. You go from 0 to 1. That means that you're going to be able to treat yourself, treat other people. You're going to learn everything that you need to be able to work fully with Reiki. Anybody can start at this stage. So whether you have a lot of experience with energy work, with meditation, or you are a complete beginner that says, wow, this is interesting, can I dive in? You can absolutely get started. Now, everybody does this slightly differently. So let me explain what I teach in my courses and what I found works really, really well. What I do first is give people a big picture. I help them to sort of step back and understand how healing works. So I want people to really get a very deep understanding of what Reiki is, how it's working, how it's healing. And I want you to understand how you develop as you work with Reiki. I think that the more empowered you are, the more information that you have, the more directly you can perceive this energy, the easier it is for you to understand things at an intuitive level. What I've seen from students that have come from other teachers that have maybe done it in the more structured way, a more mental way, it's a little bit more difficult for them to access the energy in an intuitive way. And that's what's really important. What you're doing with Reiki 1 level is really getting everything that you need to start work, because it is as you practice with this, as you treat yourself, as you treat other people, that things start to open up to you. So whether you learn with me or whether you learn with somebody else, I don't really mind. You're going to get a lot of important information. But most important is the information that arises through your practice and through your own intuition. Because I can tell you 1,000 things, and they might all be true. But when you actually perceive these things yourself through your own awareness, when it's your directly perceived truth, then you'll go, I get how this works. And that's the way that I try to teach. Give people a really big picture and then say, great, you've got the framework now. Just go and practice. And if you have questions, check back with me. You ask, but practice. Treat yourself, treat other people. Now, I do have to admit that my approach is a little bit the approach of a rebel. I don't really like rules and authority. I like to figure things out myself. And some people might say the way that I teach, there's not enough structure, there's not enough rules, there's not enough guidelines. But actually what I found is when you give people the basics, the important basics, and say, go and practice, then they actually have access to the energy, the understanding directly themselves much more easily than if they try to remember all the rules. But hey, everybody does it in their own way, right? So Reiki Level 1 is turning on the light switch. You get to work with the energy. You get to feel it. You get to develop with it. Now, for a lot of people, this is already enough. So you could stop here and you could say, wow, this is fantastic. Let me work with this for a year. Let me work with this for 10 years. That's great. Or you can say, wow, that was amazing. What's further? How deep can I go with this? And that was my experience. Reiki 1 really opened things up. I was a very closed off, emotionally traumatized English person. So working with Reiki really helped me open up so much. So I went to Reiki 2 as soon as I can. So it's a very individual thing. Reiki Level 2 takes things deeper. You're going to learn how to give a distance treatment so you can actually send the energy to anybody, anywhere on the planet. It's really quite mind-blowing. You get to learn and work with the Reiki symbols. So these symbols give you access to different aspects of the energy at more the physical level. You can direct the energy more to the emotional level, to the mental level, and at the level of master, you get the symbol which allows you to bring the energy more to the spiritual level. Now, in the Reiki 2, because it's an opportunity to take your development much deeper, what I do is to teach my students a number of extra practices. I teach in depth about the chakra system because I want people to really understand that when they can identify life force energy as it flows through the major energy centers, so they can understand really who they are at an energetic level, unlocks a deeper level of self-knowledge. It's very powerful. And to help you do that, what I teach is something called the microcosmic circulation. This is a very powerful Qigong exercise where you build energy up the lower dantian, which is the area of the hara, and then you bring that around to activate the energy centers. And this gives you a powerful exercise to support your health, longevity, and development of consciousness. After Reiki 2 comes Reiki Master. Now we start to bring all of the knowledge full circle. Sometimes Reiki Master got split into 2 separate parts. So there is some confusion out there, but a lot of people teach it together, and I think that that is what works best. What you generally learn with Reiki Master is how to teach Reiki. You're going to learn how to attune somebody else, how to guide somebody else through the first 2 levels. And the interesting and beautiful thing about learning and practicing to teach is that your own understanding goes deeper. So when you are kind of challenged and forced to communicate what you've learned, you'll find that your own capacity to understand it actually gets deeper. What I also do with my students is spend a lot of time really talking about what it means to be a Reiki Master. People want to know, when am I ready to teach? How do I do this? What is the framework in which I should do this? So I really want to ensure that my students have the knowledge and the confidence to guide and teach others. Now, a lot of people have questions about this process. So they want to know, like, how fast can I go through all of these stages? And there's a lot of discussion out there in the Reiki community. So let me give you my opinion from the experience that I've had teaching. Everybody is unique. Some people come at this with already years of experience in spiritual development, in coaching, or therapy, or meditation, or yoga, and they go through at a speed which is appropriate for them. Other people, this may be completely new. They may need some more time. So whatever makes sense for you is correct, right? There is not a rule with this, even though there are plenty of people out there that say, here are the rules. I say, I don't know, everybody's unique. As a planetary consciousness, we are moving quite fast. So I don't think what was appropriate 10 years ago, 30 years ago, makes sense anymore. But anyway, you are a unique individual. What I would say is, there's no rush. Do all of this at a speed which allows you to integrate everything that you're learning, and you will feel a natural call to go to the next level if that's appropriate for you. Now, I used to teach Reiki Master as a complete system when I would do it physically in many, many courses. And we would teach Reiki 1 on a Saturday, Reiki 2 on a Sunday, and then Reiki Master people would come back maybe a month later, maybe 2 or 3 months later. That was quite pioneering. I mean, that was 20, 25 years ago. People told us we shouldn't teach it like that. It wasn't the right way to do it. What we found was it worked just fine. Everybody found their cadence. Everybody found the right development for them. So that's my perspective on how fast you can move through all of the Reiki levels. Whether you go to Reiki Master to teach, whether you go to Reiki Master because you're using Reiki as a framework for your personal development, that's completely up to you. Some people, they like to teach to their friends and families and they leave it there, and that's perfectly fine. What's important is you find the way that's most appropriate and has the most integrity for you. Now, at every Reiki level, there is an attunement. So at Reiki 1, there is a Reiki 1 attunement, there's a Reiki 2 attunement, and there is a Reiki Master attunement. So the next video, of course, is all about the attunement, what it is, why it's necessary, and how it works. If you're enjoying this video series, remember, please give me a like, make sure you're subscribed. And of course, if you want to join me in my community, make sure to check out the information in the link below. And here comes the next video.